This is the Lenovo Legion 5 Pro 2021 edition with the 3060 GPU. I know there's a new version coming out in just a few months after this video, but I think this will suffice for most people's usage, including my own. So here's my review. Let's start with the design. I have a small correction from my early impressions video. This back panel is in fact metal. I said it was plastic and that's not right. Now it doesn't feel like metal because it's a pretty thin layer, so it feels warm to the touch just like plastic would, but at least it adds some stiffness to the back panel, making it rigid, so that's good. I have spoken about the keyboard and mouse before, and my experience largely remains the same. The keyboard is okay to type on. The keys are pretty uniform and offer decent tactility. There is a little bit of flexing when you're typing, especially around the arrow keys and the P key, but it's okay for the most part. I mean, I wrote the entire video script on this thing, so yeah, no issues. The 1440p HDR display is beautiful, text and images look really crisp, and watching movies on this is a great experience. And yeah, the 165Hz smoothness is pretty bonkers as well. It has stereo bottom-firing speakers which are surprisingly loud. Since the sound bounces off a tabletop or a surface on which you have kept your laptop, the sound ends up being wider than it actually is. You can easily feel the left and right sound separation when you're sitting at a normal one-arm distance from this thing. Now these type of speakers don't have as much clarity as normal front-firing speakers would have, but they have a wider soundstage which I prefer. It's perfectly adequate for media consumption and even good for gaming. We'll talk about that in a second. The trackpad is still excellent. I use it to scroll horizontally on my video timeline when I'm editing, alongside an external USB mouse. Speaking of video editing, let's talk about hardware performance. I tried a bunch of different PC software like DaVinci Resolve and Premiere Pro. The results were shared in the community tab, so subscribe if you'd like to get those updates. But in short, DaVinci Resolve was pretty crappy, especially on Windows platforms, so I used Premiere Pro, which was pretty awesome. Thanks to the RTX 3060's GPU acceleration, scrolling the 4K timeline was buttery smooth. I noticed a minor bug with the playback where sometimes the playback would get stuck and I had to switch the resolution a little bit, but I think that's a Premiere Pro bug and not really a machine's problem. I edited a 1-minute 4K shot for my second channel and it exported that just over a minute, which was pretty awesome. So yeah, this will be my new editing workstation. Okay then, let's talk about gaming. I briefly tried playing Valorant. I know it's not the most demanding title out there, but then again, I'm not much of a gamer. I just wanted to get a feel of what it would be like to game on this thing. As you might already know, this thing comes with a mux switch, which is called as hybrid mode in their Lenovo Vantage software. I turned it off, restarted my PC, installed Valorant, struggled to log into Valorant because the servers were acting up that day, then struggled to get the FPS counter working from the GeForce Experience app. Apparently you have to separately launch the app from within the GeForce Experience dashboard. Oh, come on, Nvidia. But yeah, I finally managed to play about an hour worth of matches. I cranked up every setting that I found under graphics to maximum and I didn't really notice the frames go below 150. As expected from the 130W TGP RTX 3060, the experience was buttery smooth. I just suck at gaming. I used the laptop's keyboard for gaming just to see how it performs, and I noticed that after like 45 minutes or so, the keyboard area got pretty warm. It wasn't uncomfortably hot or anything, but it wasn't comfortable. It was pretty warm and the fingertips were getting hot. So an external keyboard is pretty much mandatory for a comfortable extended gaming session. So if you plan on carrying this laptop with you outside for gaming somewhere else, you better also carry a keyboard in your backpack. I'll try more demanding titles in the future maybe, but my primary use for this is creative workloads. Well, you may be asking me, if I'm not gonna be playing games, why did I buy a gaming laptop? What the hell? We interrupt this garbage video to bring you latest news from Japan. Research papers from a top secret institute have been leaked and they say that gaming laptops can be used for other things? Yes they can. No. Yes, no. Yes. What an idiot. Of course, they can be used for other things. Anyways, there are far more experienced people out there to talk about gaming performance of this thing, but I did do some benchmarks. Here's Cinebench, a pretty popular CPU-based 3D rendering test. The laptop scored 1360 on a single-core rendering test. On a side note, can we appreciate how dope this CG render looks? I mean, this isn't real photo. Are you sure we are not already in the Matrix, bruh? Anyway, the multi-core test is when the fans really kicked up crazy, scaring the heck out of my cat. The final score was 12,726, right next to some Threadrippers, eh? Next up, I ran Geekbench, another pretty popular test. The CUDA computation test for the GPU gave 106,275, and the CPU tests resulted in 1406 for the single core and 7355 multi-core. I also ran some physics simulations using the Unigine SDK browser. I ran some pre-installed samples at low and even high settings, and they were perfectly usable. So if you're a developer who uses 3D applications like this, you should be able to do your job just fine. If you have any other specific benchmarks that you want me to run, please leave them in the comments down below, or you can even let me know on Discord and I'll run them and show you. Honestly, these benchmarks are pretty extreme instances. No one should be using their hardware this much. That's what she said. Anyway, let's wrap up with battery life. I've been using this with conservation mode on, meaning that it'll only charge up to 60% maximum. This should help increase the longevity of my battery. Throughout the day, the laptop was always plugged in, usually in performance mode, and unplugged at night on battery power with quiet mode turned on. The battery saver would turn on at 30%, and I could easily get at least 2.5 hours of movies, document work, and I would eventually go to sleep at around 12:30 am with the battery around 15%. That's actually pretty great for my usage. The difference in performance for basic activities between quiet mode and performance mode isn't that big. And I can always drop the resolution down to 60Hz to save more Nah. 60Hz? What am I, a broke peasant? Anyways, that about wraps it up. It's a compact, lightweight, powerful machine that'll easily last me for at least the next 4 to 5 years. Now the new 2022 editions are right around the corner as of making this video. They'll have the new Ryzen 6 or the Intel 12th gen processors in them. They'll also have up to a 3070 Ti in them at 175W TGP. I'll make a dedicated video when they come out, but I can already tell that if you want the absolute bleeding edge hardware to, watch videos on YouTube, then yeah, I absolutely understand your need and it's a totally valid reason to get them. Now as of today, the price isn't exactly clear, but if they end up costing you an arm and a kidney, then this 2021 edition right here may get some crazy price drops. So if you're not in a hurry to buy a laptop, but you are gonna buy one in the near future, I suggest you wait for the new ones to drop. But if you're like me, who's just looking for a capable and powerful machine that can handle anything you throw at it, and you don't care about flexing with the latest specs, then this machine from 2021 is still absolutely the way to go under $2,000. I think I've covered pretty much all the important aspects, so if you have any further questions, leave them in the comments down below, or you can also hit me up on Discord and tell me how bad this video was. Oi.